In today's news, we see the BVI Joint Task Force seizing just about $40 million worth of cocaine. We see one person being arrested, but the top cop says that two persons are on the run.
LIAT suspends services due to volcanic activity, and we see where ferry passengers traveling to both Virgin Gorda and Anegada will be boarding at the Tortola Pier Park from April 15th.
All that and so much more when 284 News returns. Stick with us. A pleasant good evening and welcome to all of our valued viewers here at 284 News. Now, it is Monday, April 12th, 2021. My pleasure, of course, to be joining you. My name is Javon Wilson.
And I'm Ron Grant. A happy Monday to each and every one of you, especially our viewers who are joining us across the region. We're going to begin with our summary, of course. As we mentioned earlier, one in custody after major drug incident in West End. The BVI will be fully reopened in June, says Premier, whether we're all vaccinated or not. Sister Islanders will be facilitated when domestic travel returns to the Tortola Pier Park, and it's better to return our COVID-19 vaccines than to let them expire, says the Honorable Premier and Leader of Government Business. Now, social distancing, of course, in schools reduced to accommodate more students with hopes of face-to-face sessions resuming.
Our viewers, as well, earlier today, we actually had the opportunity to sit down with the Honorable Minister of Agriculture in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where, of course, we're seeing a historic volcanic eruption that is causing lots of chaos underground. So we had an opportunity to speak with him to get a first-hand experience of not only what is happening underground, but also how we as residents of the BVI can assist. But first up, just yesterday afternoon, $40 million worth of cocaine was seized in a joint operation between U.S. authorities, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, local custom officers as well. Now, one local man has been since arrested, but the police commissioner, Mr. Michael Matthews, has confirmed that two persons are now on the run. Listen in.
Just before 3 p.m. on Sunday, the 11th of April, I received contact from the US Coast Guard informing me that they were pursuing a fast boat that was heading towards Tortola and were seeking the assistance of the BVI law enforcement authorities. I gave permission for the US law enforcement officers to continue pursuing that vessel into our waters, and it subsequently stopped in the west end of Tortola, at which point our VIPF officers and local customs officers were deployed in pursuit of the persons on board. 13 bales were recovered from the water that were believed to have come off the back of this fast boat. Those bales have been subsequently examined and weighed, and we believe that what we've received so far is 453 kilograms of what is suspected to be cocaine. That's probably got a street value on today's prices of about 40 million US dollars. As a result of the work on the ground in the West End, one person was detained following a police pursuit on the ground, and that person remains in custody, and two other persons seen departing from the boat are still being actively sought at this time to help with the police investigation.
Now, that was our top cop, Mr. Michael Matthews, really speaking to the situation that occurred just after 3 p.m. yesterday on the western side of the island. Now, the chairman of the Joint Task Force, which of course is Mr. Wade Smith, said once the BVI authorities were alerted by the United States Virgin Islands, they began pursuing the boat south of Tortola in the vicinity of Sulphur's Hole, Frenchman's Key, and eventually ending at Fort Recovery. Now, Ron, like Mr. Smith said, this was an excellent effort between the Joint Task Force, as well as, which of course consists of Her Majesty's Customs, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, as well as the Immigration Department. But it really speaks to collaboration as well between the U.S.
with the USVI.
Yes, the U.S. authorities. We saw that not only were boats deployed, but also a helicopter as well. And I think it really speaks to our increasing ability to not only detect the illegal activity here in the Virgin Islands, but also to stamp it out of our community.
And Jovan, the relationship between the U.S. Coast Guard and the BVI is a very, it's been a long-lasting relationship. For decades, they both have worked in cohesion to try to fight and protect both the borders of the BVI and the USVI. So kudos to them. Continuing on the regional scene, LIAT has suspended all flights in the southern part of its network as of Friday, April 9th, due to the volcanic activity in St. Vincent. Now, the suspension, which affects all flights south of Dominica, has been caused by the explosive eruption of the Sapiera Volcano in St. Vincent. Now, this eruption, as expected, has spewed large ash clouds into the atmosphere and forced the closure of all airports and airspace in the vicinity. LIAT has canceled flights to and from the following destinations as of April 10th until further notice. They are Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Grenada. Passengers are asked to monitor their emails for updates. Passengers wishing to reschedule are also asked to contact LIAT Reservations call center for assistance. Of course, Jovan, this will continue to cause a lot of interruption across the region, but the airline said they will be working with authorities to assist in relief and evacuation efforts into St. Vincent as soon as possible. LIAT will also issue further updates and advisories via their website, liat.com, as well as social media platforms. Now, the management and staff of LIAT have also extended their prayers and sincere wishes to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines at this very challenging times. Jovan, of course, this is a domino effect. Once again, we get to see how connected we are as a region and how natural disasters and the likes continue to affect us all, not only with our friends and family, but obviously with the connection and being able to traverse throughout the Caribbean.
And I love to see it. What we've seen so far is the Caribbean really reaching out and lending not only prayers, but actual tangible support. Our very own Premier of the Virgin Islands, Honorable Andrew Foy, has expressed to our newsroom as well that he made a pledge to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to assist in whatever way he can. And actually an update should be coming by the end of today. So we're looking forward to that. But really, again, really speaking to the unity within the region, as we are all in a tragedy-prone area, as I would like to think, not only volcanoes, but hurricanes as well.
Absolutely. Viewers, still ahead, St. Vincent's Agriculture Minister sat down with the one and only Jovan to discuss the ongoing volcanic eruptions and chaos. We dive into exactly what that looks like after the commercial break, and Prince Philip to be laid to rest on April 17th. Governor John Rankin, he pours in and has a word to say as it pertains to the mourning and the passing of Sir Philip. All this and so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
The win.
What are the hell?
I'm freaking out.
Is about these people.
It's always a pleasure coming to you live and direct from the
What's poppin'? What's really good?
Davis has won it for the Lakers.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, as we pan across the region, by now we all know of the unfortunate events that are being unveiled in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. After 42 years, the Sapiera Volcano began erupting on Thursday evening. Now, just this morning, we saw the biggest explosion to date. Residents are now terrified of the excessive rocks as well as ash that is now falling, according to them, like snow run. And
Yes.
unfortunately, experts are unable to say at this point whether this can last weeks or even months. So today, just to get a first-hand view, we saw it important to sit down with someone on the ground. And of course, we had the honor of speaking with St. Vincent's Minister of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Rural Transformation, Industry and Labor, Honorable Saboto Caesar. Listening on what he had to say.
Well, definitely the impact is catastrophic. For several months, we were monitoring an effusive eruption, and the eruption went explosive a few days ago and has continued to erupt. In fact, the most recent explosive eruption that took place was this morning on about 4 a.m. Now, what is happening is that the island is divided up into different zones based on the level of threat from the volcano. And
Right.
the most dangerous, of course, is the red zone. So far, what has been taking place is to ensure that the red zone is cleared and that the persons are removed from the red zone. There were persons who voluntarily moved, the persons who were assisted by the government to move very early, even before the explosive eruption started. But there are still some persons who did not want to move. And that has basically posed a problem, because you have now persons have to go back into the red zone to get these persons and to rescue them when at the last moment they have decided, okay, I want to move because they feel finally threatened by what is taking place.
Now, viewers, as you can imagine, the country is now in dire need for help. The minister made a passionate plea to residents of the BVI to assist however they can. Listen in. All right, Honorable Caesar, as we begin to wrap up, I just want you to speak to not only the Vincentian diaspora here in the Virgin Islands, but also just yesterday, our Premier of the Virgin Islands, Honorable Premier Foy, did mention to our newsroom that he made a pledge to assist St. Vincent and the Grenadines wherever it's necessary. I do know as well that the government of the day is also meeting with the heads of government across the OECS just to determine what the approach is going to be. So there is a willingness to help. If you can speak to the government, the Vincentian diaspora, but also wider BVI as it relates to not just what's happening there, but what or how we can assist our brothers and sisters over there in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. What would you say?
Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone for the love and the solidarity. You know, the telephone calls, the messages on WhatsApp. Persons are in contact with their family members and their friends. After all, we are one Caribbean region, and the outpouring of love definitely is heartwarming. I would really encourage those persons in the diaspora, in the BVI, to keep in touch with their family members. A lot of persons are going through one of the most challenging periods in their entire life, and we really want to keep things together. We are very resilient people, and we are going to be very steadfast and resolute as we move through the different phases which may be unfolded to us. Now, in terms of assistance and relief efforts, I know that this takes place at different levels. There's the individual level, where I would call my grandmother in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and basically render some assistance. There is the level of the governments, and I know that as you're aware that a meeting is currently taking place as we speak, and there are non-governmental organizations and CBOs that will be doing their work, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is well placed to take this information and has been reaching out, has been getting a lot of assistance already. And I just really want to thank everyone for your love and your solidarity.
Now, Ron, so many bits to go over as it relates to this story. Tragedy in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Just this morning, just about 4:15 a.m., according to reports from the experts, there was a dome collapse. And what they're saying is they're seeing pyroclastic flows, which essentially is lots of heated material that could essentially lead to major destruction in the villages that are close to this area. We also know that just about 20,000 persons have been forced to leave their home. Yes, government in preparation for this event has put together some shelters, but those shelters up until now have only been able to house just about 3,000 persons. Wow. And also you have to really think about the fact that not only are they dealing with this issue, but in a parallel is also COVID-19. So just taking stock of all of those things. Cruise ships are there, but only accepting vaccinated persons. So lots to digest, but of course our prayers and our support is with our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
His Royal Highness Prince Philip, the late husband of Queen Elizabeth II, will be laid to rest this coming Saturday in what officials have called a low-key ceremony. Now, in an official announcement, the funeral will take place on Saturday, April 17, 2021 at 3 p.m. in St. George's Chapel, Windsor. Now, the Duke's coffin, covered with His Royal Highness's personal standard and dressed with a wreath of flowers, will rest initially in the private chapel at Windsor Castle, where it will be remain until the day of the funeral. Now, on the day of the funeral, his coffin will be carried by a purpose-built Land Rover, which the Duke was involved in the design of, from the Windsor Castle to St. George's Chapel for the ceremonial procession. Now, a national minute's silence at 3 o'clock will be observed before the start of the funeral service. The Prince of Wales and members of the royal family will take part in the procession on foot immediately behind the Duke of Edinburgh's coffin, together with staff from His Royal Highness's household. Now, the plan for the funerals are laid with the Dukes of Edinburgh's own personal wishes, and the occasion will recognize and celebrate the Duke's life and his more than 70 years of service to the Queen, the UK, and of course the Commonwealth. Now, Prince Philip's funeral will be a ceremonial royal funeral, same as the Queen Elizabeth, the mother of Queen Elizabeth, and not a state funeral, which is generally reserved for monarchs. Now, current COVID-19 rules in England restricts the number of people who can attend the funeral to 30. His Royal Highness Prince Philip died peacefully at Windsor Castle on Friday morning at the age of 99. The UK is officially in 8 days of mourning. Union flags at royal residence and government buildings were lowered at half-mast until 8 p.m. on the day after the funeral. Now, in official comment, Governor of the Virgin Islands, His Excellency John Rankin, said, and I quote, "I know the people of the British Virgin Islands will join me in a period of mourning for His Royal Highness, the Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, and our thoughts will be with Her Majesty the Queen and the royal family at this difficult time." Now, Governor Rankin continued by saying arrangements will be made both online and in person for those wishing to offer condolences, and additionally, His Excellency spoke of His Royal Highness's Prince Philip and his contribution, stating, and I quote, "Prince Philip gave exemplary and loyal service throughout his life. His Royal Highness served with distinction in the Royal Navy during the Second World War and helped to represent the United Kingdom and its overseas territories to the Commonwealth and across the world for 7 decades. His Royal Highness also inspired countless young people, including my own children, in his pioneering of the Duke of Edinburgh Award. He was a friend to the British Virgin Islands, visiting in 1966 and again in 1977. He said, "We will remember him with great fondness and respect." Of course, we continue to follow. Lots has been going on with the royal family in the recent months, and we continue to wish him the very best.
Absolutely. We are still ahead of the break. Ferry passengers traveling domestically, that of course is to Anegada as well as Virgin Gorda, will now have to board their boats from the Tortola Pier Park instead of the Rotang Jetty. So stick with us. There's more coming after this commercial break.
Gentlemen, aspiring gentlemen, and our partners that hold us down. It's season 2 of The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, taking you on the most inspiring journey with the best and brightest distinguished gentlemen of the BVI. Raw, real-life lessons that translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men like you've never seen them before. Governor Augustus J.U. Jaspert, Jovan Klein, Neil Klein, and so much more. Turning modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen with yours truly, Ron Grant, a 284 Media production. Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, with just 2 days to go before International Ferry Seaport reopening, the BVI Ports Authority has now announced that domestic ferry travel will now be moved to the excursion dock at the Cyril B. Romney Tortola Pier Park. Now, according to the port, the adjustment was necessary in order to separate international and domestic ferry operations temporarily. This will allow for the safe resumption of international ferry passenger operations in the British Virgin Islands during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, viewers, domestic ferry passenger operations to the sister islands of Virgin Gorda and Anegada, like we said, will now be facilitated at the BVI Ports Authority's excursion dock. That, of course, is located at the Cyril B. Tortola Pier Park. The BVI Port Authority's management has been in discussions with their domestic ferry partners to ensure a seamless transition for staff, crew members, as well as travelers. Decisions were made on the ensuring of the following. We have, of course, at paramount, adequate parking, continuation of the current ferry schedule, transportation of cargo, ticket counters that meet health and safety protocols, and of course the overall health and safety of employees as well as sister island travelers utilizing the BVI Port Authority's ports. Now, a coordinated effort by the Ministry of Transportation, Works and Utilities, Cyril B. Romney Tortola Pier Park, and the BVI Ports Authority have begun work on the dedicated parking area that is for the domestic travelers, as well as the holding area for taxi operators. These works are ongoing, of course, to facilitate the upcoming influx of traffic that will be routed through the Cyril B. Tortola Pier Park due to the separation of the ferry operations. Now, passengers disembarking the ferry at the excursion dock will have a dedicated route to the area reserved for taxi operators. The dedicated route has been designed to be fully accessible and is equipped with ramps to assist with traversing the excursion dock, the luxury deck, boardwalk, as well as proceeding through the exit gate to the holding area for taxi operators. Ron, some very specific changes.
Yes.
Certainly, not what we're accustomed to. We usually use the Rotang dock to access the sister islands of Anegada and Virgin Gorda. But here we see the Port Authority not only acknowledging the magnitude that is expected come April 15th, which of course is Wednesday.
Yes.
Actually, tomorrow we'll be attending the reopening ceremony of that. So be sure to tune into that. But lots of adjustments as we prepare for our international passengers.
And it's definitely long awaited, and I think both residents and visitors alike are looking forward for the opportunity. Continuing on, Sir Richard Branson is inviting the public to experience the luxury of staying at one of his private islands. Now, this spring, the billionaire businessman 70 is set to open Mosquito Island, a 125-acre private paradise in the British Virgin Islands, to the public. Now, it's located just 2 miles away from his beloved Necker Island, a purchase he made in 1978 when he was just 29 years old. Now, that has welcomed A-listers such as Princess Diana to the Obamas. In addition to its pristine white beaches, as we all know and love, the private islands boast of a recreation area and a number of private estates, including Branson's own 3-villa, 11-bedroom estate, which is already accepting reservations. They said in an official comment, Mosquito Island is made up of a collection of luxury private villas which can be rented by guests looking for the ultimate island hideaway with exceptional service, just like you'd expect from a 5-star hotel. Now, the Branson estate can accommodate up to 22 guests, and additional villas are expected to be open later in 2021. Branson first acquired Mosquito Island in 2007. Prior to the purchase, the property had been home to a small resort and restaurant, which opened in the mid-1960s. Renovations began in 2010, and ownership of the island is now shared amongst a number of individual homeowners, according to the island's private website. Now, while Branson's recently launched Virgin Voyage cruise line is adults only, Mosquito Island is kid-friendly. Children are more than welcome, they say, on Mosquito Island, and can make a special arrangement for your kids, including tailor-made meals and activities. There are plenty of inflatables at the pools, and the island is has a fun environment for children to play. Some of our rooms can be arranged with 2 twin beds, as well as your very own young guests can be accommodated with their parents, of course, living in the lap of luxury. Doesn't come cheap. Rates to book out the 11 rooms of the Branson Villa begin at $25,000, while the cost of booking 4 rooms is $12,000. Now, smaller parties, of course, can also snag a reservation, and the single occupancy rate is 25% less than the standard double occupancy rate. The private island is currently taking reservations for Thanksgiving 2021, as well as December for the holiday season. Jovan, of course, Sir Richard Branson, continuing to do his thing over there. Now Mosquito Island is being opened up this spring to visitors who wish to enjoy the luxury island.
And we want to wish him all the best. We were looking forward to this moment, by the way. Yes. And I just want to wish him all the best. I know Sir Richard Branson not only continues to lend to the fabric of luxury tourism here in the British Virgin Islands, but really continues to lend his voice to a lot of important aspects.
Of course.
He's spoken on marijuana. He's also spoken on the fact that we need to do away with execution style. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm mixing this up. Not execution style murders, but what do you call that?
Killing of when persons are simply the death penalty.
The death penalty. Yes. Sorry, lost for words. Okay. But want to wish him all the best because he continues to lend significantly to the conversations. Absolutely. And of course to the building of the tourism industry. Before we go, speaking of another tourism stalwart that we just lost, Mr. Peter Kellner, we do know that he lost his life in a helicopter crash just a few weeks ago, and the community has really considered this a really significant loss, as he too also contributed to luxury tourism here in the Virgin Islands. But more profoundly, persons are reflecting on the fact that he was so extremely helpful post-Hurricanes Irma and Maria, helping in so many significant ways. And just last night, actually, the members of the Virgin Garda community mobilized to host a vigil for him, and it really turned out
Came
well.
Out in numbers.
Absolutely. Persons were really there reflecting on not only his contributions, but who he was as a person. And I think that's what really speaks to his legacy. So we want to continue to send our prayers and comfort to all of his family, his friends, his business partner, but also his fans, because he definitely had quite a few of those, right?
Most importantly, and of course, the residents of Virgin Gorda who have benefited and interacted and worked with him for such a long time. And the island has definitely taken a hit by his loss.
Absolutely. Viewers, that is unfortunately all the time we have for today. But before we go, I just want to remind you to head back to our page if you missed our interview with the Honorable Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Minister of Agriculture, of course. We had a very detailed interview, really speaking to the issues on the ground. Additionally, we spoke with Zoe Walcott of the Cyril B. Romney Turtle Pier Park, herself and Mr. Stefan McTavius, on the upcoming Bridal and Events Expo. So lots to dive into. It's certainly if you want to binge watch. You can also check out our website, that is 284media.com. We're also on Facebook at 284media and Instagram and Twitter at 284BVI. My name is Javon Wilson.
And I'm Ron Grant. It's always a pleasure. Do have a good rest of the day. Happy Monday to each and every one of you. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.